Hi everyone, it's Majorie here for the Punk Priestess, and welcome to Pisces season. We're going to pull tarot cards, astrology cards, oracle cards, all the things, and let's talk about the astrology as well. Things are starting to pick up, and it's been a wild start to 2025, but we are just in the beginning of this year astrologically, and it already feels like it's been like the longest year ever. But things are going to pick up. We have Mars going direct finally in Cancer this weekend on the 23rd. We also have a new moon in Pisces towards the end of this month. So that's really great. We have the asteroid Juno going into Sagittarius as well as Ceres going into Pisces. So that's very like cosmic and mystical and little like, guru vibe. So, we're kind of like really picking up into this more clairvoyant, spiritual vibe, and a lot of these awarenesses are being illuminated to us. I think the asteroids are going to help with that. And also in Pisces season, we have Venus going retrograde in Aries. So that's going to be interesting. It's going to go back into Pisces and it's going to hit me a little bit. So I'm like, oh, okay, it's a Venus Pisces ruled person. This is going to be, interesting. But we have Venus going retrograde on March 1st. And then we have Mercury entering Aries. So, things are kind of, speeding up. We have Mars direct, we have Mercury moving into Aries, and then we also have our first lunar eclipse in Virgo, and that's going to be March 14th, this Pisces season. And then we will have Mercury going retrograde in Aries on March 15th. So those are the main transits and astrological happenings of Pisces season, as well as not to, forget all of these conjunctions that are happening with Mercury conjuncting the North Node in Pisces, Mercury conjuncting the Neptune in Pisces, and then we're going to see the Sun in Pisces in conjunct to Saturn in Pisces, and then like the North Node in Pisces conjunct. So we have all these conjunctions with all these planets in Pisces. So we're going to be seeing this continuously, and the retrogrades in Aries and the retrograde in Pisces, definitely going to be showcasing a lot of backwards like reflections and situations coming to light that maybe we've been pondering for a while. But it's loaded. I feel like March is when things really start, and we're going to be feeling it. Things are going to start getting really intense in March. Everyone's been talking about March. All the astrologers have been talking about March. I've been talking about March. And it's also like connected to the eclipses that are happening as well. But we're gearing up for a lot of rapid change and movement, and it's kind of been a slow build. Um, and yeah, let's just kind of get into some of these cards. I will be showing you the cards, but it's going to be hard to see them all at once. So just look for the picture on my Substack and you'll see the whole spread. Have my handy dandy Florida water here to cleanse these decks. So we're just gonna check in, see what the main energy is. It's interesting. Like I've been feeling the shift from Aquarius to Pisces the past day, and it definitely feels like we're in winter. Like it really feels like okay, we're in this little cocoon, and it's not like a high energy time. It's also, connected to Mars retrograde right now, but I don't know, you can kind of feel like the come down a little bit. So main energy. I'm gonna pull an oracle card with this tarot card here. All right. So we have our Ace of Pentacles. Interesting start here. And then we have this Oracle card of Psyche. So we have these two connected. And with the Ace of Pentacles, I do feel this is a great time to reflect on your ideas for prosperity this year. This is something I did this morning. I wrote down my business and like professional goals on a piece of paper and I put them on my altar. And this is for 2025. And with just putting this on my altar, and I have like a candle that I've been lighting, it's the star tarot card candle to represent Aquarius and Pluto and Aquarius. So I put the piece of paper underneath this candle, and within an hour, I got a couple clients for my business. So it's like really interesting how like magic is immediate, but I do think this is a great time to brainstorm. And Pisces is not out for material gain. It's, it needs a patron. Pisces is not really concerned about material resources and money. And it is a great time, though, to utilize Pisces season to envision and to imagine the steps you want to take, the moves you want to take to bring in prosperity into your life at a later date. So I do think this is a good time for goal setting on a more material level. And you can do this. Like I just did this by like writing down on a little piece of paper, or you can make a vision board, or whatever you would like to do, but it needs to have some type of consistency, because like we have to consistently water these seeds. These seeds need sunlight. We need to give it care. We need to have fertilizer in the soil so that these seeds can sprout into healthy plants and bring beautiful growth. So reflect on this Pisces season, what you would like to grow in the spring. I'm sorry, my cat found its toy, and yeah, it's a little rambunctious moment right now. I think my cat wants to be a part of the reading. But anyways, I'm sorry about that. I do feel, as we're kind of pondering what type of physical, material prosperity, professional prosperity, financial prosperity that we want to bring, we have here the Psyche card. And the Psyche, it is definitely an agreement between the mind, body, spirit, mind, body, soul. And I do think this is an opportunity for us to confront our psyche, to sit with ourselves and reflect on, what we want to do better for ourselves this year. How do we want to have some type of self-development? What do we want to maintain? What are we agreeing to? What spiritual, energetic contracts, even, maybe there's material and physical contracts that are coming in this season that we want to abide by. But we have to reflect on, I think asking ourselves, is this right for me? Is this opportunity right for me? Is this the right, seed to plant? And am I planting the seeds the right way? So I do think this seems to me like it's a very inspiring energy for Pisces season. I think we're going to have a lot of time for self-reflection, and we have so many planets in Pisces and coming back to Pisces with these retrogrades in March. So I feel that's going to be a time for us to reevaluate, to think about things, to ponder, to marinate. And I think we need that time to really be intentional about what we're manifesting, and make sure that we're doing it right and bring some level of consistency. So this is a time to dream. This is time to imagine and visualize. And this is peak Pisces energy. That's what Pisces wants us to do. It wants us to visualize the foundation we're trying to set for our life so that we know how to build stability. So I think that's a very beautiful, comforting energy. And I do think that there's a lot of isolation coming. I think we're going to just feel, I mean, we're already kind of feeling a little burnt out with just how things have started this year. But I feel that we're just going to want some more time with ourselves to like work on our dreams and to visualize, and arts and crafts, books, anything creative, and study. I think that's going to be really important, especially as we get into the middle of Pisces season, like really carving out that introspective time for ourselves. It's going to be very important. Yeah, this card was going to show up. Of course. All right. Sorry, I can't shuffle right now. All right, so this is what I'm pulling here. I'll show you and then we'll talk about it. So I have the Virgo astrological sign coming in, which Virgo is the opposite sign of Pisces. It's the sister. And what eclipse do we have coming up on March 14th? Our first eclipse of the year will be in Virgo. So it's going to be a full moon eclipse, lunar eclipse in Virgo. And then we have here this water energy. Pisces is a water sign, so we're now moving through water. And then we have this Ace of Wands reverse. So it's interesting how we do have this comforting elemental alignment with the Ace, which is more of like an earthy suit, and then we have water, and we have the earth sign of Virgo. So, water and earth are balanced elements in astrology, as well as with like pentacles and cups and tarot. So I do think this is really telling us to um, really allow things to flow, allow things to wash over us. I think it could be a time where we're really feeling emotionally sensitive, or maybe we're feeling very intuitive and clairvoyant. We're very connected with our, gifts and abilities, and we're trying to cultivate them and hone in on a more consistent spiritual practice. That can definitely be it. But I do feel like we're becoming more in tune to wanting to do more spiritual intentional work, how we want to show up, and things that we want to do that are more conscious and have more awareness. I just think like as a collective, and this is something I think really driven by the tarot card of the year being the Hermit, which is Virgo's card. I think this is really interesting how, as a collective, we are trying to do the work. We're trying to put in the work to make intentional choices, to make smarter choices about what we do with our resources and how we delegate our time, energy, what we do for work. So there's a lot more of this like mindfulness and this intentional energy coming in the collective and coming into our own lives. And it might not feel like sweeping change, but it really is. If we, have a new schedule for ourselves, or we bring in a new routine, or we have like a new set of goals that are different from last year that we're trying to implement, and maybe they're not super grand, but that's okay. At least it's giving us the opportunity to achieve something that we want to master or that we had in our mind for a while. And now we might feel like, okay, this is the year to do it. And when I was writing down my list today about some of my professional goals and the things I wanted to manifest this year for my business, I only had 5 things on that list. And I was like, hmm. And I'm like, like, that's kind of it. I don't really have anything else. I just really want to maintain and grow and elevate what I've already planted and what I've already developed and bring it to the next level. But also, I want some level of consistency. Consistency, I think I wrote that like 3 times on my list. Like, I want consistency with these things, but with consistency, you have to constantly show up to do the work. And I think that's a great notion to reflect on as we're moving into these more astrological revolutionary times. We have to consistently show up to do the work. We have to consistently show up for community, consistently show up in ways of, silent protest, as in I'm not going to shop at, Target or Amazon. We have to consistently do these efforts in order to see the results. And they do get easier. I have taken upon myself to not shop at certain stores as many people, or just trying to be more mindful about what social media platforms you're using, or where are you buying books and things like that. And it's actually really easy to do. Like, I've been already doing a lot of these things anyways, but it was just like, okay, like I used to love going to Target. I would go to Target like twice like a month. I would go to Target almost every 2 weeks, and because I work by a Target. So it was really, accessible for me. And it was, it's a place that, it kind of like has this energy in Target where you just like feel like comforted. I always have to time myself into Target. I would always give myself 15 minutes and like have it on my watch because you get like lost in that store. It's like a time warp. But I haven't shopped in Target this year. And at first I was like, okay, like I have all these gift cards to the store, and that's going to be like challenging, but it's actually not even hard. And like I'm going on almost month 2, and um it hasn't been difficult. And I don't see myself in the near future shopping at Target. I do want to use these gift cards, so I'm like, okay, maybe in 6 months if I need, something, I'll use these gift cards. But it's actually when you consistently do something. Maybe it's hard for 1 week or 2 weeks, but it gets easier. But you have to consistently show up to do the work. And that's what Virgo is all about. And it's really being like mindful of your resources. It's like your work and effort, you put your body, your time into these endeavors, whatever it may be in your life. And you need to make sure that what you get from the work that you do, it's actually supporting you and it's supporting, others. And as I'm doing my taxes, I've been looking at where I spent my money in 2024. And I actually reduced my spending substantially from 2023. But it was interesting. I was like, wow, like I shopped like local a lot, and I bought most of my books on Amazon, but that's going to change. And it was just really interesting also how like yeah, you might spend $20 here or, $40 here, but that was your time and energy to make that money. So making sure that you feel good about where you're putting that money and that like your hard work is going to, a good company, a good business who respects your values and is in alignment with your goals in life. So, that was really something that hit me as I was working on my taxes today about like, wow, okay, like I have to make a change here, or I'm glad I showed up and a lot of my money went towards this company or this small business. So, it's just like, I think that a little bit more perfectionism. I think that the lights are turning on for a lot of people and it's like, the power to the people. That is, the age of Aquarius is Pluto Aquarian age, but it's also, we the people is in the Constitution. So, I think this is really tying into making sure like we're cultivating, we're feeding into people, organizations, companies, businesses, et cetera, that mirror and reflect and nourish and support us and not the other way around where it's causing harm. Um, and I think too, we have a lot to sit with. There's just a lot that we have to reflect on, and like we can't all show up um, the same way. And we also can't be against other people and how they're showing up in certain ways this Pisces season. I think a lot of us need some time for introspection, and I think it's like a lot has been very heavy and coming like really quickly, and there can be a lot of overwhelm. We want to also make sure we're not falling into depression either, because that is something with the mental health and the physical health as well, Virgo, but also Pisces as well. We can sometimes get into the abyss and the labyrinth of our psyche. And I think we have to kind of monitor that and having, a healthy approach or just feeling good about like what we're spending money on and how we're nourishing our body and showing up for ourselves and others that will help us get out of a rut or make us feel more powerful when we feel like the forces against us are winning. Um, that's not the case, but I do think, yeah, there's just a lot that we have to sit with, and we're going to have the time to do that this Pisces season because we're not ready to take action. We need the tower to crumble. We need the tower to fall down. And, also just thinking in your life, like what goals do you have this year that you're not fully ready to commit to, or it's not the right time at this moment. And it's okay to have some of your goals that you're trying to manifest, have them later on in the year. Like I have a goal that I'm like, okay, I want to achieve this and see this come into fruition and be ready with this goal by the second eclipse season of the year, which would be in September. Like it's not going to happen now, and I probably won't have time for it fully at this moment, but I want to put it on the list so I can remind myself daily that this is what I'm going for, and I can't have another year pass by where it hasn't happened. So, there's a little bit of accountability, but we also need to have that discernment. And that is a connection to Virgo. It's being very analytical, and it's a lot about discipline, but it's also about, discernment, and it's kind of like discrimination. Virgo knows what to put its time and energy to, when and where and how. And we need to kind of not rush this process right now. We can't rush these new seeds that want to grow. We can't rush it. We have to have it take its time. And we're in winter. So this is like watery ice. Like the fish in the Pisces fish in the pond are frozen right now. So we need to wait until springtime for the ice to melt and for the fish to move, but it's not the time. And I think by the time we get to March 14th, with this eclipse in Virgo, is when we're really going to start seeing some more momentum and seeing I think a lot of the action that we have been taking, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of progress, but it takes some time. So like the Montgomery bus boycotts in the 60s, it took 18 months for I guess the effects to really take place on a very like detrimental level for that industry. And we just have to kind of also think about the long work. We have to think about the long work of Virgo. Virgo's about the details. Virgo's about I want to do things right. I want to take my time. I want to do it slow and not make mistakes. And we are going to make mistakes. Like this is something new for us, and it's going to take us some time to understand how to grow these seeds and how to grow this endeavor, this fruit, this plant. And we have to learn, what water setting it needs. How many times do we need to water it a week? What type of sunlight, where in the room do we need to move the plant? Like, if you have plants, it's a whole intuitive vibe. And we have to feel that out together collectively, as well as personally in our own lives with what goals that we have. Um, so there's a lot here, but we also have to like know our timing and just, be patient with how we're showing up, with what we're, showing up collectively as well as for ourselves, and just really trying to not work against ourselves and being too hard on ourselves, which can sometimes be the darker side of Virgo, because then we don't move. If we feel like, oh, it's not perfect, or, the results aren't happening fast enough, I'm just going to give up. And it's like, no, you have to maintain the work. You have to think, long term. We have to think about more of longevity, because these seeds that we're planting, this is going to be the fruit that it bears that we're going to eat. We want to make sure it's healthy. We want to make sure that it's sustainable for the long time. And we need to really put our devotion and care into what we're trying to manifest for ourselves. All right, so I'm going to pull a couple cards here. So I have our Two of Wands, and I'm sorry, our Two of Swords, and it's reversed here. So this is telling me that, we're at some crossroads, and there's a lot of like mental confliction. Because I have our Queen of Swords on one side, and then I have the Three of Wands on the other. And I think this is perfectly the energy right now that kind of sums up where we are before we have Mercury going retrograde, as well as Venus going retrograde next month in March. And I feel like right now we're overwhelmed, we're overloaded, but maybe rightfully so. Maybe we need to kind of sit at the crossroads right now and just be at peace with a little bit of the divide and the division. And just know that we'll be able to pick our path in time, but we need some meditation. Like we're kind of sitting, cross-legged here in this middle path. And one part of it is like we have the Queen of Swords, like we know all this stuff. We know what we know. We have facts, we have information, but we don't really know what to do with it. We don't really know how to show up 100% or how to move forward, because we still have Mars retrograde, but it's still going to be in this like weird shadowy period for a while. And then we're going to have Mercury retrograde, Venus retrograde, eclipse season, Aries season, Neptune moving into Aries. So we're going to have a lot coming in, and plus all these conjunctions with Pisces. So we're not going to really be able to find clarity probably until we get closer to the end of March or even into April. Like it might still take some time. And that's why we have all this fiery energy here. We have the Ace of Wands reverse, and then we have the Three. And it's just we don't know yet. We haven't found the answer of how to physically exert the energy. Like we have the mental strategy, which is very much connected to Virgo being ruled by Mercury. And I think this is very much connected to Queen of Swords energy. We have the mental capacities of what we need to do. For example, not shopping at Amazon or supporting, these big tech companies or things like that. Like we have the idea, we have the knowledge and information of what, is going on in this country as well as, the world. But we haven't yet fully seen the results, because we've just started, getting this information, and like not everyone has fully started taking action. Like little by little, we have been in some capacity, but it hasn't been mass executed yet. And this is going to be something that I think starts happening in the next couple months. There's like a lot of trigger points that are going to really offset a lot of people. It's already starting. We're like in a boiling. We haven't reached the boiling point, but we're getting closer. Like the Piscean water is boiling, but it's still kind of frozen. So we're going frozen, going to get warmer, warmer, and then it's going to reach its boil, and then it's going to steam, and that's going to be Aries season. But I feel that we just need to get all the information. We need to get all the facts. We need to get all the resources. This is our gathering time, like that's what Virgo is doing. That's like we're gathering the ingredients to make the stew, but we haven't yet turned on the burner because we're still foraging. And like even today, I found out a couple new things to do, new search engines or new places to get news and things like that is unbiased and things like that. So, it's like every day, like we're sharing information and, we're doing things, but we haven't yet used it to the way that we need to in practice. And then think about this in your own life too. Like you're getting a lot of, resources and stuff like that and information, but what have you still been sitting on? What do you know is not the right time or is not the right time yet? So it's just a lot of just like sitting with information, trying to figure out how to best utilize it in your world, making the changes slowly, um, and just giving yourself grace that this is a new beginning. This is a new way of showing up in the world. Just how it was when these apps came out. We had to learn the technology. Like when Instagram came out, we had to learn how to use Instagram. When TikTok came out, we had to learn how to use TikTok, and it took some time to develop, and then it became part of our daily routine to go on Instagram, so that's just an example. But I do feel this is like a slow initiation into Pluto and Aquarius of how we're slowly starting to reorient our lives into showing up in community and what that looks like and what that looks like to support the people and how to take control of your power. It doesn't have to be, I mean, it will eventually be a little bit of this Martian, Aries, aggression energy, but as of right now, using our information, our resources, our technology, which is very air oriented, Queen of Swords ruled, how can we make changes there? So, I have some people that I, followed on TikTok. I found them on TikTok and they're no longer on TikTok because they don't like what happened with the blackout and then it came back. So the only way that I can support them is through Substack. And, today I followed a couple of new resourceful people on Substack. And that, like every little day doing something. It's like, okay, like I'm going to follow these people on Substack and get information from them, credible information from them. Cool. All right. That's my little like way of fighting back or having some resistance. And then the next day, okay, maybe I'm going to use this search engine instead of Google. Like every little day, just doing a little bit of something, and that's going to make such a big difference. And then you're going to eventually get used to the routine and these new, things, new ways of living and this new form of mindfulness. But it's going to take some time to implement. And eventually we'll have this fiery energy upright, which I think is going to, start next month for sure. We'll see what Mercury retrograde brings with Aries. I think we have a little bit of pissed off energy here, but eventually we'll feel like, okay, we're moving in this direction. It's more seamless and it's inspiring. You're able to kind of see like above the horizon now. Or beyond the horizon. So I do think this is just like a slow move into where we're trying to go. But Pluto just got into Aquarius officially in November, and it's going to be there until 2043. So I think, we're already making a lot of drastic change in a very short amount of time, but we still have so much to do. And we just have to take it a little by little. And eventually, again, it's going to become more normalized. So we're the instigators of change and we hold the power. We can't forget that. And we're finding it little by little. But it's a lot about preparation. That's a huge notion with Virgo. Virgo's like very feminine. We have this nun image here, but it's usually a virgin as well. But it's feminine. Pisces is also very feminine. And it's like this is a great time to prepare. That's why women have such like a power and strength is because they prepare. They think 10 steps ahead. And it's a survival mechanism, of course, but I think this is the powerful Queen of Swords. Like we're thinking 10 steps ahead, like we're thinking now before doing, because we're not going to always have that once we have more of this Aries energy with Neptune moving into Aries and then eventually Saturn this year. We're not going to really have that full drive to like think before doing. We're going to be doing before thinking. So this is our time to think. So yeah, it's okay to think about things before taking action. This is what we need. We need this for a reason. Okay. So, I have here the Wheel of Fortune upright. And Jupiter is now direct, which is great. So, moving forward there. And Jupiter's still in Gemini for a couple months, but we're still on this like mental kick here. We still have this like airy energy. And I do think that this is a lot of like optimism and positivity that we have to find. We have to know that we're on top of the wheel. Outside forces may make us feel like we're on the bottom of the wheel, and that's because they want us to not recognize our power. But we ourselves need to know that they're scared of our power. They're actually on the bottom of the wheel. We can feel it. We can feel that we're starting to find our momentum. We're starting to find our voice as a collective, and that the wheel's going to crush whatever on the bottom. It's going to roll over it. So we do have here this very Piscean card, which is the moon in Pisces, and it is the Nine of Cups. So we have a reverse, which, you can still, in revolutionary times, in like moments of a lot of drastic change and like, a literal tower moment, you can still find joy. You can still find moments of peace and tranquility and connection and art, music, dance, beauty. You can still find those moments. So don't forget to savor those moments. Don't forget to plan for those moments. Like I already planned a trip to go see Julian Baker and tours in Texas. So I'm excited about that. And I'm planning a wedding this year. So like there's still so many things that you can do. And like, despite the chaos, I so far, this year's been, knock on wood, pretty good in many ways. And we have to remember like rest is revolutionary. Like rest is part of the journey. Like we have to rest, and like joy is part of resistance. Like we have to make sure that we're resting, we're having joy, we're having laughter. We have to keep the vibration high. Because if we're constantly on the bottom of the wheel, the lower vibration, which is where the demons live, like if we're constantly on the bottom of that negativity and of that hate and of that fear, that ages you quite literally. But that really does make you not feel hopeful, not feel positive. And when you're banding together, when you're still trying to prioritize joy and fulfillment and happiness in your life, you will get that back. And that will, like, the light will always outshine the dark. So we have to keep the lights on. And the Nine of Cups here, I want you to really enjoy this Pisces season. The Pisces season is about creating. Pisces season is magic. And this is, go into a fantasy, read a fantasy book, dive into some mysticism, do some spell work, like have your tarot deck be your counsel. Make candles, like do like evoke a lot of magic, evoke a lot of creativity and beautiful things. And that's like a huge thing that I really want to continue to prioritize is the artistic sides of myself. And I don't get to always do that in the context I always want to in some regard, but for the most part, I try to keep a very artistic vision for my life. And I think for all of us, we need to remember to keep the magic alive and to keep the lights on in times of preparation, in times with a lot of mental strategy. And when we're focusing on our mental health, our physical health and well-being, and our spiritual health, we also need to create and focus on that creative health and that inspiration and that magic. That also has to be important. And I feel with the Nine of Cups, by the Three of Wands, it's just like, what creative work are you putting on hold in your life? What activities do you want to do that would really change your life for the better and make your life more excited and feel more involved? Don't put them on hold. It's really time more than anything to take advantage of those things. Um, we're going to wrap up here. I'm going to pull a color oracle card. All right. And then I'm going to roll some astro dice to end. Okay. So what I pulled here was this memory color oracle card, and it has the Mercury symbol on here, and it has like the nose for like scent, has a little snowflake because with snow like every snowflake is different and it like snow remembers its memory of form and design. But I think this is a time to remember, and this is something that I really need to start doing. I've been talking a lot about it, but I haven't actually done it. But um, I'm gonna do it because I do have a journal. I need to find it, but um, what I want to do is actually like start kind of a little diary and like really document this time because I feel it's so important with what's happening, collectively around us. And I think this is a really good time to write about our life, like everything. And this can be something that you don't need to share with anyone, or maybe this is something you want to keep for, future generations of your family to like find one day. But I think let's not forget what is going on. Like, let's make sure, like, we remember, but also let's create beautiful memories in our life. And like, what beautiful memories can we create this year? And we can lean on those memories when time gets hard, or just as a reminder that things were good in the past, or we did have like beautiful moments in the past, and we can still continue to have beautiful moments in the future and create those. um but let's make sure like we honor this time and we really evoke our memory and foster our memory. Maybe if there's talents and abilities that you've been putting on hold, you can have your memory come back. And sometimes it's just like muscle memory. Like I'm going back to knitting and it's like muscle memory. I'm like, wow, like, okay, I know how to do this. I haven't done it in a while, in a couple of years, but it's back. So, there's some things just, take a little bit of time to like bring out of you, but once it's out and it's found its moment, it will stay. And some things you will realize have never left you. And that's very beautiful. Just to wrap up with some astro dice, I have the seventh house. I have Libra, the zodiac sign, which is the ruler of the seventh house, and then I have the moon here. And we do have a full moon in Libra coming next month, but until then, this is an opportunity to really, I think, hold stock of your relationships and foster a very beautiful, balanced relationship within you, but also making sure that you have harmony and peace with other people and reflecting on the relationships and people in your life. And, maybe this can be, some time where you are spending more time with loved ones and like a little bit more intimacy with the people in your life. And I think holding your loved ones, your friends, family close and dear, and really prioritizing those beautiful, healthy relationships are super important this Pisces season, especially when there's going to be some time for isolation and a lot of moments where we are feeling um, like, maybe we can't, be out and about. We have to be a little bit more inside, or we feel just a little, I guess, sad or misunderstood or confused. If we want to make sure we have those relationships, those people that we can lean on in moments of crisis or in moments when we needed some extra guidance or like a helping hand. And I think this is a beautiful reminder that let's nurture new relationships, but also don't forget about nurturing the relationship with yourself. So, and let that part of your psyche come out. Let's have an agreement in this life to know all sides of ourselves and to make peace and friendship with all sides of those selves and to really love who we are. And that strength in who we are is going to help inspire strengths in others. So, that's the reading for Pisces season. And I hope this, inspired you, uplifted you in some way, and also gave you some inspiration for what to kind of push forward into the Pisces season and the rest of the year. And thank you. And I hope you enjoyed this reading. And if you want a personal reading with me, my books are open. So link in my bio. And yeah, thank you so much.